And you just got back from competing at Wodapalooza.
Mm-hmm.
So that's big CrossFit competition
Yep.
down in Miami every year. And your team competed in the...
So
hit us with the Wodapaloozas.
So Wodapalooza, I got an invitation from 2 other amputees that I've known through Instagram. So I've only been an amputee in COVID. So there hasn't been events. I've not actually met the adaptive community.
Okay.
So Wodapalooza was my first time meeting.
Weird. You've lost a leg during COVID.
Yes. I wish I'd have done it sooner because when we were all locked down, I could have coached. I could have kept working.
Do you wonder if you were vaccinated, would it have protected you from this?
No.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
No. No.
I like making jokes, whatever.
No. So what we did is I got invited. There were 2 other amputees, and they're like, "Hey, what do you think about doing an able-bodied team with us?" And I was like, I thought about it. You know, they were kind of telling me what they were thinking, and then I just saw this big opportunity, and I was like, "Yeah, 1, I've only ever competed able-bodied, so what the fuck's the difference? 2, I haven't competed since 2016 in CrossFit, so who gives a shit?" And
right. Let's set the expectations.
So for me to be hung up on it, didn't like that. There was no hang up there. I didn't care. But what I saw was this huge opportunity for the adaptive division to like, in a sense, like I've gotten, so it's weird the support I've gotten from these people that I've never interacted with. They've only seen my social media. They've only seen some posts. And it's only recently that I've really started sharing my story on there. So it wasn't like they had all this stuff to get invested in. So I was really grateful for that. And I thought like, this is this like gift, almost this offering. I can come to the table, the adaptive community's table, and be like, I'm here to contribute.
Right.
And what I saw was that in the adaptive division, what tends to have, or what the big struggle is, you know, building a fan base. And that's hard for everything. For the adaptive community, it's the big obstacle is people tend to look at it and what they see is, oh, look how motivational there. It's so inspiring. It tickles their feel good. There's not a lot of like athleticism that they're seeing, even though they're seeing very high levels of athleticism. But it's a point of reference issue. Like I don't expect you to understand what it takes to use that thing. And right. And if you're watching 3 amputees compete against each other, you don't really gain any of that perspective, right? So my thought was like, well, let's fix this. We'll go compete against everybody's buddy. So everybody in those stands, they knew somebody in there and they knew exactly how fit they were.
Yeah.
So even though we were not competitive, there are structures of adaptive events that account for things that are an issue for adaptive doing able body, but that wasn't an issue. We knew that we were going to walk into that.
Sure.
And, but so they see me holding my own next to their buddy and they're like, well, fuck, he's fit. Well, I know exactly how fit Dave is.
Right.
And now this guy missing a leg is hanging. Oh, fuck, he just beat him in that. Like I had an event on Sunday where I beat a handful of guys in my heat. Like,
fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. It was the event going into the week and I was like, I'm going to put on a fucking show here. Like, I'm going to make this run perfect. So if anyone's not perfect, they're going to get beat by a dude missing a bit. So to me, that was the big opportunity was we could demonstrate our fitness in a language that we knew they understood, their workout, not our workout, them coming over. And it was just really an incredible experience. One, for myself personally, I got on there on the second event really, and I found a piece of myself that I didn't realize I was missing. And I found a piece of the old machine that I'm like, fuck yes, let's go. Like that killer that wanted to do special operations. Like, I found a piece of that guy again out there.
Some light.
Just kind of getting into that zone. And so like, that was enough for me. But then like, as the weekend goes along, we've got people stopping us. Oh shit, that was so cool. That was like, we didn't realize how fit these guys were. I even had somebody say, was the adaptive division still going on? I want to go watch some more. Like, that's what we wanted, right?
Hell yeah.
We're trying to grow the fan base, but I'm trying to take the perspective of their perspective. Like, I've got this unique perspective now.
They need to have a reference point.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's something that a lot of people that, like, if they're an adaptive athlete, like congenital or like their whole life, that's all they've ever known, maybe they don't understand that difference in perspective or how hard it is to understand that. I've learned after 10 years of doing all this, over 10 years of training and all that stuff, then I ended up in this boat. I've got this weird mix of perspective.
Sure.
So I'm like, how do I use this to help us all? And that's one of the things that I felt that this was an opportunity to do that. It came literally knocking on my door. It showed up in my DMs. When Omar got a hold of me, it was like, hey, I think you should do this with Marcus and Brandon. So it was cool. I mean, by the time I left Miami, I had messages from adaptive athletes in 4 different countries just saying literally all of them had the word thank you in it. And then something along the lines of they just never thought they'd see something like that, and how cool it was and how empowering it was. And I was, part of me was the initial reaction, it's like to deflect. Cause to me, I'm like, I just did some sandbag cleans and rope climbs, but
sure.
But at the same time, I came to this conclusion. I'm like, well, I don't determine my value. Who am I to detract from the value somebody sees in something? That's just not how things work.
That imposter syndrome is a motherfucker, huh?
There's that. And it's in that moment, I realized at our heart, we're all kind of capitalists. Value is what we see it. And to me, that's what capitalism, right? Or to me, that's the root, not the economic shit, but from a capitalist, or that's how I kind of saw it. I was like, and that's when I started to realize, I was like, just because I don't feel like what I did out there was special, I didn't hit a big lift, or I didn't do this, that, or have some crazy performance where I almost died on the floor.
Sure,
I never had any of that, that doesn't make it less valuable to this guy in Argentina.
No, man.
Who's sitting there not sure what's possible. Exactly.
He needs to see impossible shit happen.
And that's where the phrase representation matters. My perspective on that has warped a lot. Born as a white guy in the Midwest.
Sure.
There wasn't a whole lot of understanding of that phrase. To me now, I still kind of have the same viewpoint of no, it doesn't, in terms of there's nothing getting in your way. To me, it's a call to action. If representation matters, and it seems to a lot of people, once you've acknowledged that, it's your responsibility to go be that representation. So that's kind of how I've viewed it. Let's go. It's a responsibility. And I do fine with that. Again, that's how I've grown up, and I feel peace there.
Right.
I feel peace.
And you've leaned into it.
Yeah. I mean, at first I didn't. And I was like, I'm kind of the new guy on the block here. Why am I getting these? These are not questions for a guy who's had a leg for 7 months.
What an interesting thing to feel like you don't deserve it.
I wouldn't go as far as to say I feel like I don't deserve it.
Do you think someone deserves it more?
Yeah. Or I sit there man, or I see why somebody would not come to me for this.
Yeah, but at the same time, why discredit the unique story that you went through and all the pain and all that stuff, and immediately now that you're out of pain, write it off as hoof, don't talk about that ever again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one, definitely. And that's part of that realization though that I came to. It kind of helped me with all that, with the whole idea that man, if I don't think it was that special, then that's really just a vote of confidence that I've really got something special in the tank. To me, I turned it into a source of confidence and a reason to believe that big shit's going to happen if I set myself up to do big shit. Plain and simple. So I've been trying to work on just learning how to turn these things into votes of confidence instead of reasons to say no, or reasons to hesitate or slow down, or I don't quite do that. That's something that I'm really working on. And like I said, Wodapalooza really opened my eyes and really helped me kind of have that light bulb go off.